Okay, guys, I gotta tell you the state of PlayStation. The state of PlayStation is really bad. The PlayStation 5 Pro was sold for $700, and to get everything else, you needed to pay up to $1,000. The disk drive was separate, and there was a supply chain issue with the disk drive, which made it near impossible to play physical games. the, fa- the PlayStation 5 Pro had graphical glitches when the AI upscaled the graphics for the PlayStation 5 Pro. There was two outages in the past months where you couldn't play your PlayStation games on PlayStation 3, 4, and 5. There was a state of play that happened just yesterday, and the content that was in it was bare bones. PlayStation play, State of Play is the biggest event of Sony, and they didn't show very many games. Most of it was filler. Most of the fans agree that what they shown off was just devastating. It's not the PlayStation that we know. And most of PlayStation's games were live services, and most of them either shut down or has completely gotten rid of development entirely. And that means PlayStation has no games for PlayStation 5. Heck, might have to even wait for the PlayStation 6 just to get any new games. And obviously, PlayStation does not care about their old games. They make it where you have to play PlayStation 1 and 2 games on PlayStation Plus. And they raised the price on that too. PlayStation 1 and 2 games should have been compatible for PlayStation 4 and 5, but they're not. And the amount of games that you got on the PlayStation 1 is really good compared to PlayStation 4 or 5. There was a series called Namco Museum, and they managed to get a Namco Museum Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Encore in a span of 2 years on the PlayStation 1. That was an achievement. Nowadays, these games that PlayStation make have longer development cycles and fewer games on the market. Heck, there's not even any games on the market because they completely botched the games because of live service. And the thing is, guys, I don't know if things are ever going to get better even after the PlayStation 6. I mean, I've heard rumors that's not going to have a disc drive. It's going to have it sold separately. It's just, I don't know, guys. Just, Sony is in a really tough spot. I would say even tougher than Xbox. Just, fans are tired of it. Fans are tired of Sony. Ever since leadership changed, PlayStation hasn't been the same ever since. I mean, there's new leadership that changed just recently, but I don't even know if that's going to make a difference. I mean, they just showed the state of play, and honestly, that didn't seem. The state of play didn't seem like a bright future in my books. Just. The state of PlayStation is so bad, guys. I so wish PlayStation cared about their old PlayStation games. That's kind of why I never even bought a new PlayStation. Because they never did compatibility of old games. They just don't care. And they raised the price on PlayStation Plus, so it's like they're forcing us to subscribe to PlayStation Plus just to play them. So it's like, They just don't care. I mean, guys, look at this. I own a PlayStation 2 and a Japanese PlayStation 1. I mean, a part of me wishes that PlayStation would do compatibility on these old games so I can play it in HD. But at the rate that things are going, I don't think this dream is ever going to come true for PlayStation. My number one dream was to play Namco Museum Volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Encore in HD. But the unfortunate truth, I don't think that will ever happen. Unless some miracle happens and they start caring. They just don't care us old classic PlayStation players like they used to. It's a sad reality, but they just don't care about us. And that's why I don't support Sony anymore. It's sad, but it's a reality we're all facing. You know, Sony's all players all over is just devastated with the state of Sony. And honestly, I don't see it getting any better. There's kind of a reason why I prefer Xbox over Sony. They did compatibility on Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Series X on the Series X. This is why I bought a Series X. Because I could play my old games in HD. But it seems like Sony just doesn't care about playing old games in HD. And that was my number one dream for Sony all these years. And unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Sony, I have enjoyed your games ever since the PlayStation 1 and 2. But I feel like ever since the PlayStation 3, you just haven't felt the same. This is not the company that I knew back in the 1995 through 2000. This is not the old Sony that I remember. This is why I miss the old Sony, because it was so much better. This new Sony is just corporate. Pure corporate greed. And thing is, they make more remasters and remakes than actual sequels. Like most of the sequels, they try to do live service. And now because of this, there's not going to be any games on the PlayStation 5 because of this. And it's because of leadership. It's Sony's fault. You know. And I know that there's new leadership, but I don't have much hope. Sony really shot themselves in the foot. Once, twice, maybe 5 times, maybe 10. I mean, they just keep on shooting themselves in the foot. And no matter how much hope we try to give them, well, they always turn around and screw things up. So, what a generation we have been in. Sony has completely screwed up. And I don't think Sony will recover.